Sorry, I just really had to fucking throw something. The Mummy is the first official film in Universal's Dark Universe, and it is also a remake of the hit 1995 Academy Award-winning film, The Mummy. It is directed by Alex Kurtzman and stars Tom Cruise, Sophia Boutella, Russell Crowe, and some British girl I hope I never fucking see again. Okay. God, this movie is fucking awful. It's just... Okay. As always, start with the positives. Before I start yelling shit, because I'm already losing my voice, are there positives about this movie? Yeah. Am I grasping at the bottom of the barrel? Yeah. But you know what? They're fucking there. Oh, God. Okay. I don't know what the budget was on this movie. I have no idea, and frankly, I don't care enough to Google it. But I think at least 85 to 90% of it went into the visual effects, and it worked for them. The visuals look very good. All of the CGI in this movie worked for me, except for like one weird shot where Tom Cruise like literally jumps through a fucking bus and then like goes along the seats. It's in the trailer, and it was just as ridiculous in the trailer as it was in the movie, so that was the only one that looked bad, but at least the rest of the visuals look nice, kind of, I guess. After complaining a couple weeks in a row about Pirates of the Caribbean and whatever movie I didn't like last week, Wonder Woman, about the visuals in those two movies, at least it was nice to see a visually appealing movie, so that helped. There are some very nice set pieces in this movie. A lot of the production design is very good. The places they go, as I said, are visually appealing, so that when there are things happening and you're trying to distract yourself from the shit that you're watching on screen, you can be like, oh, look at those mountains, look at that desert over there, hey, look at that really cool stone building. Well, that's nice. I will give them credit on the majority of a technical level in terms of visuals and set pieces. It's a nice looking movie, and I think a big part of that is my other good thing about this movie is Alex Kurtzman, who directed it. He's directed one other movie in the past called People Like Us that was made in 2012 and that I watched with my mom when I still knew nothing about movies and didn't even like it then. He obviously had a vision for this movie. Like, there was obviously something in his head that he wanted this movie to turn out as. Part of me thinks it was actually rated R, because, and I'll get into why in a second, but he obviously had something he wanted this movie to look like, and I think visually he was allowed to do that, but unfortunately, for a script, these three writers walked up to him and handed him a piece of shit, and they said, here you go, make a movie. And I guess he just kind of picked up the camera and said, well, I'll make it look like I wanted it to, but that's kind of the only thing I'm going to be able to do. It was similar with the trailer, was that like it looked good because there was no dialogue in it, and it just showed off the shots, which looked really nice. But everything else in this movie is horseshit. So, I'll give the movie credit. It's ballsy. As I said, I think Alex Kurtzman wanted this movie to be R, because it is violent as hell. If they kill somebody off, boy, do they kill somebody off. They really die. Like, they'll do some really gruesome shit for a PG-13. They do push the boundaries. I'll give them that. Should this movie have been rated R? Honestly, I probably would have been more interested and invested into it, and I probably would have said at least this wasn't a pure money grab and just a kickoff to a universe. But again, it's a kickoff to a fucking universe because we haven't seen enough of those recently. We don't have enough universes floating around this goddamn Hollywood. Like, stop. Stop. One universe has been successful so far. One, and I don't even like it that much. Now you have DC, you have the Warner Brothers monster shit, and now you have this monster shit. This thing is going nowhere, by the way. If this is your kickoff, you're going nowhere. There was like no one in my theater, and Thursday nights are usually pretty... There's a fair amount of people. There was fucking nobody at this thing. And then they have a ballsy ending. It's not a common ending. It's something that they genuinely took a risk with, and I think they sort of had in mind when they started making this movie. Probably the only thing the writers had in mind when they started making this movie. But at least it's not like, oh, cookie cutter, you know, everything works out. It doesn't entirely. Alright, let me start shitting on this movie because I've so much to say. This movie is completely destroyed by its script. It really is. It's like that shot in the trailer where what's-her-name is walking down the street and everything's blowing up behind her.
She will claim.
Yeah, no, that's how I felt like listening to the script, and all the buildings is the movie, and it's fucking awful. It's so, like, there are so many things about it that are wrong. The clichéness of it, the fucking predictability of it, the amateurity of it, just the lack of character and development in it, the lack of anything in the script. I mean, good lord, it felt like it was written in 2 days. It really did. It felt like they just, for some reason, Universal felt like they had to get this movie out, and they were like, okay, here you go, writing team, bring me a script in 72 hours. And they were like, okay, and it's just awful. It's just awful. And when the credits rolled, and I saw there are 3 writers that wrote this script. One of them is fucking Christopher McQuarrie, who has been on a roll recently. He's been on a roll. Just did Rogue Nation, which was great. Wrote Edge of Tomorrow, which was great. Directed Rogue Nation. He fucking, what else? He did Jack Reacher, which I personally enjoy. The first one, not the second one. The second one was awful. I personally enjoy the first Jack Reacher. Sure. He wrote Jack the Giant Slayer. Sure. He wrote The Tourist. But Lord, is this a low for him. I really don't know what happened behind the scenes. I want someone to tell me that he wrote a draft that wasn't used. I know they're not going to tell me that, but just this script actually ruins the movie. You know exactly what lines are going to be said next. I did it a couple times. I leaned over to Max, who I saw this movie with, and I would like say the next line they were going to say in the movie, and it was actually accurate. It's just an amateur script that felt like something I would fucking write, and I'm in high school. Like, it's just terrible. And coming from an Academy Award-winning screenwriter, like, come on. It's so goddamn terrible. One of the big problems with the script is the exposition. It starts out with, like, 5 to 10 minutes of narration, and I thought we had moved past that in filmmaking. I thought we had figured out that we should say, okay, the rule is show, don't tell, so let's try and visually represent our story. Instead, they have Russell Crowe sit down in a sound booth and just read off a fucking script so that we kind of understand what's going on. I didn't understand it all that well. Then they kind of try to explain it to you again halfway through the movie, and by then I just didn't give a shit. So, like, it didn't faze me at all. But even then, in the beginning of the movie, when they're trying to set up the characters, and they're giving this ridiculous exposition behind all of them, it's just so poorly done. The setup to this film is awful, so that everything else that happens, you just don't care. It is so amateur, and I know I keep throwing that word out, but it really is. It feels like a student film. Like, they try and throw comedy in there every now and then, and it's just cheesy and awkward because it doesn't land. They try and have these awful punchlines, and they never work because it's just not funny. They have these two conflicting styles of dark and brooding and violence, and then the other half of it is trying to be fun and lighthearted and 1999 The Mummy, and instead of doing like this, they just like fucking do this. Like, it doesn't work. It never works, and the script is just an anchor on this movie, yanking it down, and it's devastating to watch. It's devastating to listen to, and it never lets up. All of the performances in this movie suck. They all suck. And I don't really blame the actors, except for this fucking guy. I don't know his name. I have no idea who he is. But oh my god, was he just the worst character and the worst actor and the worst performance in this movie by far. He was so annoying, so unnecessary. Just like, they tried to make him the comic relief, and he was never funny. And spoiler alert, I guess, he dies 15 minutes into the movie, and you're like, thank God. And then he fucking comes back as like a zombie, and he just lingers through the whole movie, and he's awful. He's awful. And he never goes away. Russell Crowe, I don't know what happened to him. I don't know. He was really, really good in The Nice Guys. But like, it's like he's not trying. It's like he's not trying, and it's sad. It's sad because he's awful in this movie. The British girl, like I said before, I don't know her name. She's awful in this movie. Sophia Boutella, who has, again, like Christopher McQuarrie, been on a roll with Kingsman and Star Trek, and now just hits a bumpy, like, road with this movie. She's awful in this. Tom Cruise is at least trying. He didn't phone this in, and I'll give him some kind of credit for that, because it would have been so easy for him to phone this movie in, and he didn't. So good on you, I guess. But like, oh my god, these actors had nothing to work with. But it didn't seem like they were really trying. So I'm not going to give them that much of the benefit of the doubt. Also, Tom Cruise doesn't ride a motorcycle. So, like, that brought the movie instantly down for me. Oh my god. Okay. The last thing I'll touch on is the characters, because I kept bitching about the characters and didn't talk about it. Because they're non-existent. I won't say that. They're there, but they're all assholes. So, the problem is, when you have a bunch of protagonists, and you don't like any of them, for a ton of different reasons, for their performance, for their writing, and just their sheer unlikability as a character, Tom Cruise is a thief that's selfish. This British girl is just kind of a bitch and is mean to everyone. Nick is Tom Cruise. The guy that I hate is not funny and really annoying. Russell Crowe is some weird Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde dumb character that's in the movie for 10 minutes. And then you get to a point where you're almost kind of rooting for Queen Ahmed. You just kind of want her to win. Because, like, part of me wanted all of these characters to die. Because I hated all of them. And then they try and make them likable. So that, like, you actually care about the movie. Which is something that you need to happen. And there's no development. You just get to a point in the movie where you're like, wait, now they're good. What changed from that scene 5 minutes ago to now that makes them genuinely want to save the world? I never noticed any kind of significant change or any kind of anything in any of their writing that would have convinced me of that. Not one. Not one instance. And it drove me the hell insane. It drove me insane. Because that was half of what made this movie feel like it was written in 20 minutes. They were following this plot graph, and they were like, okay, we have to have the characters change here, so let's just have them do something good. That's a movie for you, folks! That's a movie! That's a wrap! Good job! Good job, everyone! Great job! Great movie! Great movie! Great fucking movie! Overall, do not see this movie. Don't. It's not worth the price of admission. It's boring. It slogs. It's one of the worst scripts for me in recent history. Yes, visually, it looks nice. But when you have a movie like this and it's so bad, I don't really give a shit. Because bad movies, you notice bad things, and good movies, you notice less bad things because you're invested into it. But when you have a movie like this that kicks off and it's instantly bad because of shitty exposition, you're instantly pointing things out that suck about the movie. And trust me, you're doing it for 2 fucking hours. So, what did you guys think? Have you seen The Mummy? Did you not see The Mummy? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.